Have you ever been through that moment? When someone makes a sarcastic remark or a tasteless joke in front of everyone, leaving you feeling humiliated and underestimated. At times like these, you wonder how to react without losing your composure and still earn respect even from those who usually belittle others. Well, you're not alone. And the good news is that there is indeed a way to handle this elegantly and assertively. In this video, I'm going to share practical tips, inspired by Stoic wisdom, that will help you turn uncomfortable situations into opportunities to assert your value. Often it's not because the issue is personal, but rather a type of power play that certain people like to engage in. To feel superior, that's where Stoicism comes in. Instead of demanding respect, learn to cultivate it by how you behave and protect your boundaries. So, if you're tired of feeling off balance or undervalued, get ready for a new perspective. After all, as Marcus Aurelius once said, you have power over your mind, not over external events. And before we dive into these strategies, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. After all, it costs you nothing and helps us a lot. Let's go. No. 1. When you get interrupted in public. If someone interrupts you in public during a conversation, the best thing you can do is fix them with a firm, determined look. When someone interrupts you, especially in a public setting, it can be extremely frustrating. You're trying to make a point and suddenly someone appears, causing you to lose your train of thought. But take a deep breath. The natural reaction for many is to get angry or respond curtly, but that usually only makes things worse and makes you seem less composed. So, what should you do? This is where Stoicism comes in, to help you handle the moment calmly and authoritatively. Stoic philosophy teaches that true strength doesn't come from controlling others, but from controlling yourself. In this situation, a simple, steady gaze conveys a message much stronger than any immediate response. Instead of reacting impulsively, pause. Look directly at the person who interrupted you with a calm, yet focused expression, and let the silence speak for you. Their behavior is inappropriate and you won't tolerate disrespect. This not only shows confidence, but also prompts the other person to reflect on what they've done. I recall a family dinner where I was telling a funny story when a relative interrupted me to tell his own story. In the moment I felt uneasy, but instead of cutting him off mid-sentence, I stopped, looked at him calmly, and waited. The silence lasted only a few seconds, but it had more impact than any words could have. He quickly realized he had interrupted at the wrong time, pulled himself together, and let me continue. The rest of the evening went smoothly, and I regained control of the conversation without creating any tension. This strategy works particularly well in public or group settings. By remaining calm and in control, you naturally draw attention, your presence grows stronger, and you don't need to raise your voice or argue to regain your place in the conversation. Stoicism teaches us not to let others' actions dictate our emotions. Instead, we use resources like body language and composure to guide the situation without losing our dignity. But the look is just the beginning. After handling the interruption politely but firmly, get back to your point. A simple phrase like "so," picking up where I left off, not only reaffirms your right to speak, but also maintains respect for everyone involved. Remember, the goal isn't to embarrass the other person, but to make it clear that respect and communication is non-negotiable. Interestingly, this requires neither aggression nor intimidation. All it takes is staying calm, avoiding displays of anger, and letting your actions speak for themselves. When others see you handle interruptions confidently and deliberately, they not only come to respect you more, but also reflect on their own behavior. Stoicism reminds us that true power lies in maintaining self-control, even in challenging moments. So next time someone interrupts you, don't lose your cool, remain steady. Look them in the eyes and show that you're someone who deserves to be heard. It's not just about earning respect. It's about expressing your worth in a meaningful, lasting way. No to malicious jokes. When someone tries to humiliate you with a joke in a group of friends, use this strategy. When a friend deliberately tries to humiliate you with a joke, your first instinct may be to feel embarrassed or upset. But remember, The way you respond defines the entire tone of the situation. This is where Stoic philosophy can be a tremendously useful tool, helping you stay calm and take control. Once at a casual gathering with old friends, one of them decided to ridicule me in front of everyone by telling an embarrassing story from our school days. I immediately felt my face get hot, and my first reaction was to snap back. But instead of letting my emotions take over, I recalled a Stoic principle: that which doesn't harm your essence doesn't deserve your concern. I smiled, pretended not to have heard the story, and calmly asked him to repeat it, maintaining a composed posture and a slightly curious tone. And here's the interesting part. By having to repeat the joke, its impact drastically diminished. Furthermore, the group began to notice how awkward it was to force someone to listen again to a joke that was no longer funny. The loud laughter that had erupted began to fade, and the person telling the story got tangled up, realizing his attempt to humiliate me had backfired. The key point is that asking someone to repeat the joke not only dulls its effect, but also shows that you weren't shaken. This approach allows you to maintain composure while subtly exposing the other person's inappropriate behavior. Most importantly, it shifts the dynamic in your favor, without needing to fight back or lose your dignity. By choosing this path, you send a powerful message. You possess an inner strength that can't be shaken by petty provocation. That's one of the core tenets of Stoicism: remaining calm and in control in the face of life's minor challenges. So, how do you apply this principle effectively? First, remember, you don't have to react to every word or action in the moment. Pause, breathe, and think. Second, use silence as a powerful weapon. Silence isn't passive. It creates space for the other person to realize their mistake. Finally, when you do respond, do it calmly and with confidence. A simple request to repeat what was said, made in a neutral tone, can have much more effect than an argument or retaliation. Stoicism teaches us that our reaction to uncomfortable situations reflects our character and internal values. Every time you remain calm and refuse to dive into negativity, you not only earn the respect of others, you also build your own self-respect. Therefore, the next time someone tries to ridicule you in public, remember, you have total control over how the story ends. With tranquility and clarity, you'll always come out on top. No. 3. All rise to the provocation. When someone is trying to provoke you or make you angry, you can use a very effective psychological technique. Have you ever been in a situation where someone deliberately tried to provoke or hurt you, and instead of reacting right away, you were able to handle it gracefully? Picture this: you're at a family gathering, and someone makes a nasty remark about a career failure of yours in front of everyone. It's the kind of comment that feels like a stab to the heart, poking at a wound you're trying to heal. Suddenly, all eyes turn to you, waiting for your reaction. At that moment, instead of defending yourself for trying to explain, you pause, stay calm, and ask, "Hey, does anyone know a good bakery around here? I was thinking about buying something for our next gathering." This simple question instantly changes the energy in the room. The person who tried to provoke you is thrown off balance, not sure how to continue, and the conversation quickly shifts to another, more neutral topic. Besides preventing the situation from escalating, you've turned an uncomfortable moment into something advantageous. This strategy of asking a question, unrelated to the attack you just received, is more than a clever tactic. It helps you regain control over your emotions and the situation. By interrupting the flow of the provocation, you steer the conversation away from the negative vibe and refuse to give the provocateur the pleasure of seeing you upset. It's a perfect example of putting Stoic principles into practice, focusing on what you can control, and refusing to let external circumstances dictate your peace of mind. As Epictetus wisely said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. The genius of this technique is its ability to break the tension without directly confronting the instigator. A well-placed question, completely off-tonic, interrupts the person's line of thought, making it nearly impossible for them to keep provoking you. At the same time, you maintain your posture of serenity, projecting confidence and self-control. a great way to earn respect in any social scenario. For this approach to work, it's essential that your tone of voice and body language appear natural. If it seems forced or calculated, it may come across as fake. Choose a simple neutral question or comment that fits the moment, maybe about a nearby restaurant, a recent event, or even a casual observation. The goal isn't to make a bizarre escape, but to guide the conversation in a subtle, elegant way. This technique doesn't just work in the moment, it builds resilience and inner strength over the long run. By refusing to engage in emotional conflicts, you show yourself and others that you're in control. People around you notice this composure and come to respect you for it. Most importantly, using this strategy is a step toward cultivating the Stoic value of focusing on what you can control. You can't dictate others' behavior, but you can choose how you react. In doing so, you reinforce your self-esteem and make it clear that you won't let anyone shatter your peace or dignity. Next time someone tries to provoke or hurt you, remember this approach. Ask a simple question and watch how the dynamic changes. Not only do you quell the tension, you also feel empowered by your ability to rise above provocation. As Marcus Aurelius wisely reminded us, true power arises from keeping peace of mind, regardless of external circumstances. By mastering this, you'll not only face challenges with grace, but you'll also elevate the respect people have for you. In any situation, exercise no, for walk away. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt underestimated, ignored, or even completely disregarded? It's not a good feeling, but sometimes the best way to protect your self-respect is to choose to leave. Stoic philosophy teaches us that respect isn't something you demand, it's something you cultivate by recognizing your own worth. And, in some circumstances, walking away isn't a sign of weakness. It's a demonstration of strength and self-love. I'll share a story with you. A friend of mine, Sarah, was an exceptionally creative professional. One day, she joined the large project at the company where she worked. However, rather than being recognized for her tireless effort, she was constantly ridiculed by the manager. In front of the entire team, he interrupted her during meetings, dismissed her ideas, and acted as though she didn't matter. Initially, Sarah worked even harder, thinking she had to prove her worth. But after months of frustration, she realized she didn't have to beg for respect from someone who wasn't willing to give it. During one pivotal meeting, yet again her idea was dismissed without any real reason. This time, Sarah calmly closed her laptop, stood up, and said she would focus her energy where it was valued. She walked out of the meeting, leaving her colleagues stunned. Later that day, she resigned, not out of anger, but out of self-preservation. A few months later, Sarah joined another company, now in a leadership role where she was not only respected, but also celebrated for her talent. Sarah's story isn't just about walking away. It's about choosing where to invest your energy. Leaving doesn't mean you're weak. On the contrary, it shows you understand your own value and refuse to remain in an environment that diminishes you. Stoicism teaches us that the only thing we can control is how we respond to situations. You can't force others to respect you, but you can decide not to stay where respect isn't present. What's most powerful about leaving is that it's not about creating drama or getting revenge. It's a personal decision. Quiet but unwavering, it's a way of telling yourself, I'm worth more than this. Marcus Aurelius emphasized, you have power over your mind, not over external events. Realize this and you will find strength. Staying in a disrespectful environment is choosing to let others undermine your worth. So, how do you know when it's time to go? It's when you realize all your efforts to earn respect are being met with indifference. When you feel you're constantly fighting just to be acknowledged. Don't wait until your self-esteem is completely eroded. Listen to yourself and, if necessary, walk away. Because being a respected absence is far better than being a disparaged presence. Leaving isn't giving up, it's setting boundaries. Stoicism doesn't just teach us to control our emotions, but also to protect our sense of self-worth. Next time you feel unappreciated, remember that sometimes the most respectful action you can take is to exit the place where your value ain't recognized. Respect isn't asked for, It's built through how you choose to treat yourself. No, 5 first impressions matter a lot. They're the foundation of how you're perceived, and interestingly enough, what often counts in so much what you say, but how you present yourself. Picture this scenario: you're at an important networking event. Someone walks into the room, surveys the space, and comes your way. They extend their hand to greet you, but instead of standing up, you remain seated, offering only a quick glance before shaking their hand. The result, without meaning to, you convey a lack of confidence, and suggest that the interaction isn't that important to you. Small actions like these have a huge impact on how people perceive you. The Stoics understood this very well. They recognized that simple gestures, such as standing up and maintaining eye contact during a greeting, aren't just good manners, but powerful expressions of confidence and self-awareness. By standing to shake someone's hand, you subtly convey equality, readiness, and mutual respect. This aligns with one of Stoicism's key principles. The way you present yourself reflects your values and shapes how others see you. I share a story. I attended a professional seminar where the main goal was networking. Among the participants, there was someone who stood out. It didn't matter whether he was greeting a senior executive or thanking a waiter for refilling his coffee. He always stood up, made eye contact, and fully engaged in the interaction. It wasn't over the top or contrived, but it left a strong impression. People respected him not so much for what he said, but for how he behaved. He projected confidence and sincerity in every encounter, effortlessly earning respect. By contrast, I noticed another participant who remained seated during every greeting. He didn't intend to seem uninterested. It was just a habit. But this seemingly small action created a silent barrier. Unconsciously, people took him less seriously, even though he was just as capable as anyone else there. This emphasized a fundamental truth. Standing up isn't just a matter of courtesy. It's a way of acknowledging the other person's value and affirming your own. The lesson is clear. Standing up to greet someone isn't just an act of politeness. It's a statement of how much you value yourself and the other person. This is where Stoicism comes into play. The Stoics didn't dwell on what they couldn't control. They maximized what they could influence. In this case, their behavior, posture, and the way they communicate their worth through simple but meaningful actions. If you want to apply this lesson in your life, start with everyday situations. Whether you're meeting someone in the office, at a cafe, or even in a virtual meeting, make sure you're fully present. Stand up when greeting someone, maintain eye contact, and project confidence through your body language. These simple gestures don't just command respect. They also reinforce the value you place on yourself, a reflection of Stoic principles in action. Remember, first impressions aren't just about appearance. They're about demonstrating confidence, self-respect, and respect for the other person. That's the essence of what Stoicism teaches us. Live with intention, pay attention to the small details, and let these actions define who you are. So, the next time you greet someone, stand up, look them in the eye, and let your actions speak louder than your words. No. 6. Use silence. A tool. Silence can be a powerful form of communication, especially in conflict or tense situations. When someone disrespects or treats us hostile, our natural tendency is to respond immediately, either to defend ourselves or to reaffirm our position. However, pausing before you speak and fixing the person with your gaze for a few seconds without saying anything can be far more impactful than words spoken in the heat of the moment. This brief interval of silence stops the aggressor's momentum because it takes away their control of the situation. Point 1. Control of the situation. By holding someone's gaze without responding right away, you create a sort of awkward discomfort for the person who behaved disrespectfully. This serene yet firm approach shows that you're in control of your own emotions and makes it clear that offensive behavior won't be tolerated. While they wait for an immediate reaction, the silence forces them to reflect on what they said or how they acted, often prompting them to regret it or feel unsure about continuing in that tone. Besides creating discomfort for the offender, silence is a way of reaffirming your own values and boundaries. Demonstrating calm in the face of provocation doesn't mean weakness or submission. It means you have the ability not to be driven by impulse. Thus, strategic silence not only deters disrespectful attitudes, but also elevates your credibility in the eyes of onlookers. Instead of getting caught up in verbal arguments that add little, you project an image of self-control and wisdom, reminding others that respect is essential in any relationship. Hope you enjoyed the video, and since you made it this far, write armored wisdom in the comments. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. See you soon.